Welcome to the History Hangar, where we step into the cockpit of the past. In this episode, we visit the nearly forgotten P-26, the grandfather of the modern U.S. fighter plane. Before World War II turned fighters into sleek, enclosed metal birds of prey, America's frontline interceptor looked like this: bright colors, wire-braced wings, fixed landing gear, and an open cockpit that whipped the wind in your face. Meet Boeing's P-26, also known as the Peashooter, the U.S. Army Air Corps' first production all-metal monoplane fighter, and the last American fighter with an open cockpit and fixed gear to enter service. It was a bridge between eras. Born as Boeing's Model 248 in 1931, first flown in 1932, and entering service by 1933, it brought speed, strength, and modern materials, yet carried the soul of a biplane: external bracing, fixed gear, and a cockpit open to the sky. Bolted to the nose sat a 600-horsepower Pratt & Whitney R1340 Wasp radial. Flat out, it could reach about 230 miles per hour and climb higher than 27,000 feet. Impressive for the early 30s. Two Browning machine guns gave it bite, and some versions carried small bombs under the wings. The little Boeing also had about 600 miles of range. Pilots loved its agility and called it fun to fly, but they also gave it its famous nickname. Those long blast tubes sticking from the cowl looked like a toy Peashooter, and the name stuck. The P-26 equipped pursuit groups from Selfridge Field in Michigan to Marchfield in California, the Panama Canal Zone, and the Philippines. For a brief moment, this little Boeing represented the cutting edge of American air power. But technology was sprinting ahead. Within just a few years, the world saw retractable gear, enclosed cockpits, and cleaner wings on fighters like the Curtiss P-36 and the Messerschmitt Bf-109. Overnight, the Peashooter looked antique. If you're enjoying this look back at aviation's golden age, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the History Hangar. It helps these stories reach more aviation fans, and it keeps rare birds like this one in the spotlight. Despite being outclassed, the P-26 still saw real combat. Exported to China as the Model 281, it fought Japanese bombers in the mid-1930s, the first all-metal monoplane dogfights in history. And when Japan invaded the Philippines in 1941, a few P-26 were still on hand, and despite being outclassed and outnumbered by the superior machines of Japan, several even scored kills before being overwhelmed. Not bad for a design that predated the Spitfire by half a decade. After U.S. service ended, the Peashooter found new life in Latin America. Guatemala operated its fleet until the mid-1950s, an astonishing run that spanned the entire transition from fabric wings to jet engines. And that brings us to the last survivor, the only flying original left on Earth, Serial 33123, the gleaming blue and yellow jewel at the Planes of Fame Air Museum in Chino, California. This aircraft started its life with the U.S. Army Air Corps, served in the Canal Zone, then was sold to Guatemala. Museum founder Ed Maloney rescued it in 1957, and by the 2000s it was flying again, restored in the classic colors of the 34th Pursuit Squadron. Up front, you'll see that beautifully simple nose, no spinner, just that big R1340 Wasp pulling through the wind. Unlike the later models, which would be painted in dull grays, greens, browns, or bare metal, the P-26, like this one, would wear bright, vibrant colors as if celebrating not just patriotism, but the excitement of the new era of aviation. Move down the wing and you'll spot the wire bracing, a holdover from biplane design, and those fairings over the fixed gear. They kept things light, rugged, and reliable, though they cost precious speed. Look closer near the flaps. Early models didn't have them at all, and landing accidents forced the Air Corps to retrofit flaps later. And that tall headrest fairing behind the cockpit? It hides a steel rollover pylon, a small but important safety upgrade. Inside the cockpit, it's tight, open, and simple. No canopy, no armor, no radio direction finder, just you, the sky, and the hum of the Wasp. A throwback to the days of the Red Baron, when pilots literally touched the sky above battlefields. And yet, despite its age, it still looks right in the air, clean, lively, and unmistakably Boeing. The Peashooter's legacy reaches far beyond its small size. It was Boeing's proof that an all-metal monoplane fighter could work. It paved the way for the P-35, the P-36, and ultimately the P-40 and the Thunderbolt, each faster, stronger, and more refined. Ironically, it would also be Boeing's last fighter in U.S. service until the company re-entered the field decades later by merging with McDonnell Douglas. So next time you're at an air show and you see this bright little airplane lifting off, yellow wings glinting in the California sun, remember, you're watching the first step of the modern fighter era. If you enjoyed this dive into aviation history, please like, subscribe, and ring the bell so you don't miss the next episode from the History Hangar, where we step into the cockpit of the past. Thanks for watching.